What's going on, everybody? Brendan here for another quick little video. Today I'm going to be changing some suspension settings on my 2012 Mustang GT, and I'm going to be showing you guys the process, so let's get to it. If you're not familiar with the car, here it is. It's a 2012 Mustang GT base model. I have pretty much everything I've done on my Instagram, so if you want to check that out, there's my handle. Manual car. Under the hood, it's a pretty basic setup. It's a ported Brett Barber Cobra Jet intake with a twin 60mm throttle body and a Ford Racing cold air intake. The Ford Racing cold air has been modified. The bell mouth where the filter attaches to on the inside has been bored out to allow for a little more airflow. I don't really know if it was worth it, but I bought this whole setup used, so I can't complain. Alright, everybody, got the car all jacked up. And don't worry, I got jack stands under there. I'm not an idiot. So, what we're going to be doing is, let me get the creeper. Show you guys exactly what I'm trying to do here. So right now, pretty dark under here. Alright, so now that I got some light under here, you can see this is where I got the lower control arm mounted in the middle hole on the relocation bracket. What we're going to do is just go down one hole, and that is going to increase my anti-squat percentage. I found some illustrations on BMR's website, so I'll throw that on the screen. What you can get from that is running this in the bottom hole and running the upper, which is right here, in the top hole. Basically, that's going to give me just under 100% anti-squat, so it's not really too aggressive for the street, and it actually does pretty good at the track. So we're going to get this dropped down to this bottom hole, and I'll pick the video up after that. Alrighty, everybody, so if you look right here, my arm out of the light's way, we just move this from here to there. You can see where it was. It's nice and shiny there from where it's been there so long. But yeah, so now you can see that the bar is at a much steeper angle towards the body of the car as compared to this side here. Oh, sorry about all the noise there. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but it's definitely a lot steeper if you look at it in person. So now I'm gonna get this side swapped out over here and go from there. Alright, you guys, just a little tip. I don't know if it'll happen to everybody, but it probably will or could possibly happen to you as well. But when I took this bolt out of this side, the axle tried to go backwards towards the rear of the car. So what was happening was I couldn't get my holes to line up, so I couldn't get the bolt back through. So I had to get a little creative, but I got the come along and I hooked it right here on the relocation bracket. And it doesn't take a lot of force, but I had to sit up. But then I just hooked it onto one of these holes under the body of the car, right there. And then I just tightened it up enough. I mean, it's still, you can see right there that it's not really tight. It's just holding the axle and the bolt's back in now, so it's not tight anyway. But it just pulls the axle back enough to where you can slap the bolt in there. Alright, you guys, I got it all finished up. Now all I got to do is torque those bolts that I moved down. So what I'm going to do is move the jack stands from the frame rails, and I'm going to set them under the axle so that'll like simulate the load of the car on the axle itself, and then torque those down. You always want to do that when you do anything with your suspension, because if you torque your bolts when the suspension is unloaded, then you load the car up, it's going to kind of put a stress on those bushings as opposed to if you torque them at ride height. So you always just make sure you do that. Alright, you guys, so this is one of the pictures I was talking about I'd throw on the screen. This is the old position that I had the control arms in, so the upper was in the upper position and the lower control arm was in the middle position. So this was recommended by them for like a good daily driver setup, and that's what I was doing with the car when I installed all that stuff. So that's how I set it up then. Eventually just started going to the track more, and recently was recommended to change that lower control arm to the bottom hole. So I'll show that picture here. Okay, this is the new setup. The main thing to pay attention to here is the point at which the two lines from the upper control arm and the lower control arm intersect. So if you notice in this picture, opposite of the last one, the point at which they intersect is actually a little closer to the rear of the car. So that's going to keep the car from squatting over the tire as much, and hopefully get us that 1.4 60 foot that I've been after for quite some time now. Alright, you guys, got back to the house now. I forgot to record an outro while I was still in the shop, so sorry about that, but I'm planning on going to the track this weekend, probably Saturday or Sunday. So if you like what you see, keep an eye out, subscribe, and I just appreciate you guys watching. Have a good night.